Hey you booty scratchers, and welcome back to another episode of 90 Day Fiancé, The Last Resort. This week is episode 10. Last week's episode, a lot did not really happen up until the very end of the episode where they had their hypnotherapy, and Julia admits to Brandon that she cheated on him in the beginning of their relationship. Now initially she said she didn't cheat, but then she did come out saying that she was kissing on her ex-boyfriend and that they planned to get together at some point. But she goes on to tell Brandon that the reason she did this, she thought their relationship wasn't that serious. He had only come down there a couple of times to see her, and they hadn't seen each other in like 4 to 5 months at that point. So she figured they were just like dating, just kind of like talking to each other. She never even thought that she was going to be moving down there. And she goes on to say that she would have never done it if she knew that their relationship was going to be that serious. And she says she brought this up because it has been hurting her for so long that she just wanted to be honest because she was just going through so much pain. And the therapist points out that this exercise was to bring up something that she did to hurt the other person. And in a way, Julia did bring up something that hurt him, but it was supposed to be something that they had already known, like in that time that he was hurt. But she said she brought it up because she wanted to take advantage of the therapy. She just wanted to be honest and put this out there. So the therapist decides that she wants to give them a private therapy session, just them two, to work this through. Now the therapist moves on to Sophie and Rob, and Sophie brings up a time where her and Rob were arguing and they were in front of one of her friends. She ended up blurting out something that he shared with her in private, something that was personal. So she said she regrets bringing up his personal business, and she could tell that it did hurt him in the time. So she said what she would do different is just not bring that up whatsoever in front of anybody. And she goes on to say that she wants to be nicer to him and ends up apologizing. Now we go on to Rob, and I figured this was what he was going to apologize for. He apologizes about the online cheating that he did in the beginning of the relationship, and he says because of the acts that he took and the decisions that he decided to make, it has changed their relationship, and he just regrets doing it, and if he could go back, that he would have just never done it in the first place. And he apologizes to her, and in her talking head she does say that he has apologized for this many a times, but this is the first time she feels like it's pretty genuine.
You know, you had a real one.
Then she moves on to Stacy and Florian, and Stacy says in a big fight that they had a while ago, for the first time she told Florian that she wanted to divorce him and that she wanted to leave him. In that moment, what she would have done differently is just be happy with each other, that she just imagined them having a happy marriage, and she never said that. Now it's Florian's turn, and he ends up apologizing for cheating, and he straight up just says, yeah, I cheated and I would have never done that. I would have never talked to her or anything like that. But when Florian is apologizing, it seems very half-assed. I don't know if it's just because of his personality or what it is, but he's like, oh, you know, shoulda, coulda, just like shrugs it off. And then he's just like, Stacy, I'm sorry, apologize, I love you. And just like takes her hand. Again, I don't know, it just did not feel genuine. If anything, they probably worked this out a long time ago, and he's probably just like, I gotta bring this crap up again. But speaking of somebody that's not genuine, they move on to Josh and Natalie, and she asked Josh, like, what was your thing? What happened? How'd you hurt Natalie? And this dude is like, I've never hurt her. I don't have anything. I don't have anything to apologize for. And dude is like sifting through his brain, and he's like, there's never been an instance where I've like ever had to feel like I had to call her up and just profusely apologize. But then he brings up the whole Vegas and Sophie thing. You know, I replayed it. Would I do something different? No, I wouldn't. Nah, I didn't want to even take her anyways. And then keeps just saying, hey, I haven't done anything to her. I have nothing to apologize for. And I don't know if the therapist was like, this was a jab at him or Natalie or both, or I don't know. But she's like, you know what? I believe you.
I'm just saying, like, there's never been a time, like, I've felt personally since we've been together at all that I've been like, I'm so sorry that I did that.
Yeah. Hey, I believe you.
Natalie doesn't say anything right there and then, but in her talking head, she calls BS. And it's like, damn, you have nothing to apologize for? Not a single thing? And then she goes on with her whole, I'm offended and bullied and attacked. But then it's Natalie's turn to share her thing, and it's pretty much just a broad thing. She says that anytime that Josh wants to leave and she wants to spend time with him, she snaps and says hurtful things. And she says that she she wished she wouldn't do that and just be nicer to him. Now she moves on to Jasmine and Gino, and Jasmine shares that when she first moved down here for their very first Christmas, they had a really big fight, so she decided to leave the house and go stay in a hotel for a night. She goes on to say that she was just very hurt that day because it was the first holidays without her family, without being in her country, so it was just all new and just too much for her. And she apologizes and says that what she would do differently is try to express her feelings and her emotions without attacking him. And she goes on to just apologize to him for not being the woman that he wants. And honestly, I don't think Jasmine will ever be the woman that he wants, because I think Gino wants one of those like AI robot things. I don't think any woman is good for Gino, but he does end up giving her a hug, and I'm like, dang. I don't know what she did to get the hug, but like, she has been begging for a hug for so long, and she finally got one. But she ends up just breaking down and says that even if they don't end up together, she wants him to forgive her. And then she keeps just repeating, I'll always love you, I'll always love you, I'll always love you. And everybody's like, oh, like, even I'm not even gonna lie, shed a couple of little tears. It was getting emotional. But goddamn Gino, his responses to things are like, huh? But she's like, I'll always love you, I'll always love you. And he's like, that's sweet.
And I will always love you, Gino. I will always love you. I will always love you.
That's sweet.
You get your fucking hands off me.
But then she moves on to Gino, and Gino says that he has one in his head, but he does not want to share. And even Florian is like, come on, man. Don't bottle it up. Like, it'll be better for you. Just release it. Come on. But Gino keeps denying sharing it, and Jasmine is now starting to get frustrated because she feels like she's the only one putting work into this therapy, the only one trying and participating. And now she's starting to have intrusive thoughts of maybe, did he cheat on her? Which, I mean, I do not blame her. Couple after couple after couple talking about, oh, I cheated on you, oh, I cheated on you, oh, I cheated on you, and then it rolls around to your couple and dude don't even want to speak up. I would probably be thinking the same thing. But Jasmine just keeps being like, come on, it's okay, just share, this is what we're here for. Come on, Gino, come on, you got this, Gino. Okay, Jasmine. You know, Jasmine, anytime we would fight and I would tell you just to go back to Panama, I knew that would really hurt you, and I'm sorry.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
That boy just pulled something right out of his ass. I know that was not it whatsoever. That had to have not been it. There's no damn way. Even Florian is like, he's lying. Both his husband and his wife are like, that man's is lying. Jasmine is like, I know him like the palm of my hand, and I know he's not telling the truth. But if that's all he decides he wants to share, I mean, they really can't do much, so they decide to move on to Ari and Benny. Let me tell you, this whole time, Ari was passed the hell out. And then her turn came around, and I'm sure one of the producers had to shake her awake or something. Because even when she was sharing her point, she was like, you know, it was so hard to grab on to one situation because I was just in and out of the dream state. I was passed the hell out, then awake, then passed the hell out. So she goes on to say that her thing isn't just one thing. It's like a whole broad thing, kind of like Natalie. But she says that she would say hurtful things to Benny, and she apologizes and just says next time she'll just try to be nicer. Now, we're about to get into another subject that I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I don't side with either Ari or Benny, because I know Benny is just, he's lying for sure, and I know he been cheating and stuff, but at the same time, like, I wish I could like feel some empathy for Ari, but it's just the way that she acts. And if I have to pick a side, I'm gonna kind of like lean on Benny's side, because he's like rational about it a little bit. I feel like he's just trying to get his stuff and go, you know? But Benny finally decides to admit to his cheating, and I think he got the timeline a little mixed up. I don't know, maybe he was trying to lie a little bit, but it just got a little out of hand. But basically he goes on to explain that in the beginning of the relationship, he was talking to some girl, and then he met Ari, but instead of just stopping talking to that other girl, he ended up talking to both Ari and that girl at the same time, because he didn't want to hurt either one of them, but turns out he ends up hurting both of them. And so he finally admits to some kind of cheating. He a punk for that one, because this was the girl that I'm sure he was talking about when he kept being like, I swear on Avi's life, I swear on Avi's life, I swear on Avi's life. So you're gonna have to stop doing that to my guy. You're gonna have to figure out some other way to try to lie, you know? But he's talking about that girl that I'm pretty sure that Ari also knows who he's talking about, because even she was like, wait, who are you talking about? And he's like, the girl from the beginning, you know, you saw the text messages and everything. And I know she knew who he was talking about. I knew she did. But she wants to act all dumb and is like, oh, the timeline is not timelining. So it sounds like you were with this girl when you were still with your ex-wife, because I got with you 3 months after you were with your ex-wife. So you were with this girl and not after me. Like, she was just dialing in on the dates of when they were together. And she goes on to say that he just doesn't want to look like a bad guy. And, you know, I want to understand Ari, but it's sometimes the way she speaks and the things that she does. Like, I don't want to understand her. But at the same time, I do understand, like, you want to get your answers and you want the person who's like apologizing to you to be straightforward and just be truthful. But instead of listening to him apologizing about the cheating part, she just goes into being like, oh, you just don't want to look like a bad guy, like you're lying about the dates are all wrong. It was saying that he cheated while she was pregnant and then after she was pregnant, and it's like, if he's cheated multiple times, why does it matter when it happens, with who it happened? Like, none of that matters. It just matters that he cheated, and right now he's trying to take accountability for it. If he cheated multiple times, it doesn't matter where in the timeline it happened. Like, whether it happened in the beginning of the pregnancy or during the pregnancy or after the pregnancy, like, it's the fact that he cheated and he was maybe like a couple of months off or whatever, but he is done and over with it. He's just like, just take the sorry. I said I'm sorry, just take it. Why don't you just take it? But he does half-ass apologize, and Ari's like, so this is how you apologize? And Benny's like, all you're asking for is dates. Like, you don't even want to hear an apology. I'm done. Listen, I'm sorry. Let's just be done with it. And Ari's like, no, I'm still speaking. And she's like, just trying to go. And the therapist is like, hey,
can you shut the fuck up?
But eventually she cuts her off and she's like, Ari, I'm speaking right now, so can you quiet down? But the therapist goes on to say that she just needs to be glad that he's owning up to the cheating, because just not too long ago, he wasn't even admitting to that. So she needs to take this little bit that she got and hope that maybe more will come in the future. But with that, the therapist goes ahead and wraps it up, and she tells them that she did this exercise because she wants them to start seeing the things that they've done and try to stop putting everything on their partners. Now, as everybody heads off to the campsite, Julie and Brandon hang back just to talk a little bit, and Brandon says that he feels betrayed, he's hurt, he just doesn't understand, and even says that he wishes that she just would have never told him. And I don't know, I'm very curious how you guys would feel if you were in a relationship for so long, and in the beginning of the relationship, it was basically, if you were Brandon, would you want to know? Would you have just rather have not known? But when they go to talk, Brandon just tells her that she just made their relationship worse, and bringing it up just hurts the relationship even more now. And she just goes on to say that she just wanted to be honest. She wanted to get it off her chest. She wanted to tell the truth. And Brandon is like, the truth wasn't beneficial in any way. If anything, you just made everything worse. But she goes on to say that she wanted to get this off her chest because it's been bottling up inside of her. It's been hurting her so much, and it's the reason why their relationship is so toxic. There's no schmex, there's no intimacy, they don't talk or anything, and she just wanted to take advantage of this therapy. And Brandon is like, well, it seems like you're the toxic one. You're the reason we're not having schmex. You're the reason why we're not talking. But he ends up just getting too mad to even look at her, so he ends up just walking away from her. Now, when they get back to the campsite, Brandon does not want to be around Julia whatsoever, so he ends up sleeping in his own tent. I'm glad that they actually had extra tents. They probably pre-planned. They were like, somebody's gonna fight here, so we need a couple of extra ones. But Rob is helping Brandon put up his tent, and they're just having a conversation, and of course Rob just asks how he's feeling, and Brandon tells Rob that he wishes that she just never said anything, just kept it to herself. And Rob tries to get Brandon to understand a little bit that maybe she just felt like their relationship wasn't that serious or wasn't gonna go anywhere. And Brandon was like, well, yeah, maybe if it weren't for us already filing the K1 visa.
Oh, DooDee. Oh, what it is? Oh, DooDee. What?
At first, I was like, you know, maybe Julia isn't that in the wrong. Maybe she should have said something a long time ago. I don't know. Maybe it just didn't seem as serious because I'm like, it's two people in two different countries. They don't know what the hell is going on. Anything could happen, right? Yeah, she did do a faulty thing, but I feel like Brandon was maybe being a little too extra mad until I heard this bit of information. They already had the K1 visa filed. They were already in the middle of it and everything, which means like he probably done already proposed to her, which I think he did had already proposed to her because I feel like she tried to come here on another visa at first.
Flashback.
We were on the phone every second we possibly could be. After a few weeks, I flew over there to ask her to be my girlfriend. After that, we applied for a visitor's visa for Julia to come visit me in the US. But Julia was denied the visa because she told the consulate that I was her boyfriend, and they told her she had to get a K1 visa. After only 5 months and one meetup, I invited her to come to Iceland, and that's where I proposed to her. Julia, will you marry me?
Yes.
Several days later.
On a long distance, we not see each other for months, for like 3, for 4, for 5 months, and I think it is nothing serious. It's gonna be just dating and anything, and I never think I will be moved to here. I think this is just nothing serious.
Julia, will you marry me?
Yes.
So they were in a solid relationship. It wasn't like oh, I don't know what's going on. She was already in the middle of the K1 visa. So yeah, she done goofed. She messed up real bad. But yeah, I feel like she just waited too long, and the fact that she did it in front of everybody was a little crazy. Now Florian and Stacy are off on the side by themselves talking, and Stacy is getting into this hypnotherapy. She was straight up hypnotized. She's like, I was floating in the clouds, man. I was gone. But Jasmine decides to come over and chit chat, and she has this like headlamp thing, and she just starts blinding everybody with it. She's like, oh, you see this headlamp? And then just shing, shines it right in their eyes. But Jasmine asks to sit down, and of course Stacy lets her join them, and Florian looks terrifying in that light. But he's like, as long as she doesn't start no shit, I'm not gonna start no shit. If she's nice, I'll be nice, but I'll cause a shit nightmare if I need to. But Jasmine decides to go over there and talk to Florian and says that she's been reflecting on herself after the therapy and realized that she's been projecting a lot of her anger and her emotions that she has with Gino in her relationship and has been throwing it at others, especially Florian. And she goes to apologize. She's like, I want to apologize because... And that's all she got out. Because Florian was like, oh, hold on. And I thought he was about to go off. But he goes on to accept the apology. And he's like, don't worry about it. It's nothing personal. I just need you to think before you open your mouth. And if Gino was having fun, let that man have fun. I'm not asking us to have fun every night, but every once in a while. So if you decide you want to say something mean, just don't say it. And him and Stacy are shocked that Jasmine even came over and apologized. And it was really weird because everything that Stacy was saying, Florian was just repeating her.
Just being the bigger person, she came over
and nice person, and that
make up for all the drama and everything. And I respect her for that. So
and that I respect for that. That I'm going to talk like a doll with her.
Child. Anyway, so.
But Florian goes on to say that he's going to talk to Gino for Jasmine. And she's like, please, you are literally my last hope. I am so desperate. I will take your help. And that she's just so tired of Gino not being honest. So if he's not going to be honest with her or the therapist, he needs to be honest with Florian. Now it's time for everybody to gather around the fire. And Josh and Natalie come up. And Natalie she could see what Josh is doing. She's like, he's on some BS right now. And he's not putting in any effort. I don't know what he's doing. But you know what? We're just gonna have fun tonight. We're just gonna have a good night. I'm gonna brush it off my shoulder. Because you know what? He hasn't left me. Yet.
Stupid.
But they all start cooking, and Natalie is on some weirdo, I don't even know. She said she didn't want to try the marshmallows, aka the marshmallows. So she grabbed a potato and just started cooking the hell out of this potato. It was literally black. She was just eating a piece of charcoal. And Sophia tries s'mores for the first time, and she said it was disgusting.
Are you crazy? That shit is so disrespectful.
The delicacy of a s'more. I love s'mores. They're absolutely delicious. I wish I had a fireplace on my house just so I could just have unlimited s'mores all the time, because the s'mores on the stove, it just doesn't cut it. You know, the wood and the fire and the char. And because even Rob was like getting the burnies on there, which is the good part. And she was like, ew, it's all crunchy and gooey. And it's like, girl, that is delicious meals. But as everybody's munching down, Brandon decides he doesn't want to be there anymore, so he goes off to bed. And Julia's not sure if she should go talk to him or just give him some space, so she asks Sophie. And Sophie is like, if it was me, I would just give him some space. And I think that was the right call, because the producers end up going and talking to him, and he's like, I'm just burnt out. I'm just out of it. Like, I don't want to do anything else but go to sleep. But then Florian, Stacy, and Jasmine finish their conversation and come over, and she proceeds to blind everybody else at the campfire, just pointing the light right in their eyes. And I'm like, who the hell gave this lady the flashlight? And now this part, don't really need to talk about it. Don't need to include it whatsoever, because it has nothing to do with anything. But the way Josh laughs took me aback. I rewound it and kept rewinding it. But Natalie is eating a potato, and the way he laughs.
What the hell are you doing with that potato?
There's so much burnt on that potato. Burnt on that potato. Burnt on that potato.
But as they're all having a good time, Jazz decides to, stir the pot a little bit. And she asks Josh, how is there nothing that you found that you need to apologize for? And Josh again said he's just never had a major issue. He's never really done anything that bad. And Jasmine is like, it's obviously because you don't see Natalie as your partner. Now, Natalie feels good that she's bringing it up, because she feels like Jasmine is trying to defend her in a way. But at the same time, she feels like Jasmine's just provoking it because she has so much troubles in her own marriage that she just doesn't want to deal with it. I would have liked to see Jasmine call Gino out in front of everybody instead of Josh, which, I mean, I'm not complaining. I like that she called out Josh too, but I would have liked to see her call out Gino as well. But they're all asking Josh, like, what is he doing here? Where is this going? And Josh is like, well, we're here to see if we can be in a committed relationship. 1,000,000%? You want to be with me 1,000,000%? Well, again, that's what we're here for, to see if we can be in a committed relationship. Natalie, you want a family, you want kids, you want love, you want marriage, you want all these things. And Josh is not providing that. And he gives you a little bit of affection here and there. He just sprinkles it on you. And whatever he gives you, you just lap it up like a puppy. Oh, well, puppies are cute. Thank you. Thank you. I am a puppy.
Are you dumb?
But Jasmine says that she's just bringing it up because when he was gone from the party last night, she was so upset, so angry. So she's just looking out for her. And Stacy is just like, do you love Josh? And she's like, I do.
Do you love Josh?
I do. I only involved if I love.
So, Josh, do you love Natalie?
What? We're flying to Philadelphia. Oh, hell no. That's hell no. No.
Stacy slaps him in the face with that question and is like, Josh, do you love Natalie? And he's like, I pay her bills, I get her hair done, I take care of her, I do all those things. So I'm hearing you care for her. Why would I do any of that stuff if I didn't love her? And Rob is like, is that good enough for you? And Natalie says some of the craziest, I don't even know what to say. It was weird, but it explains a lot, to be honest. It really explains a lot. But Natalie goes on to be like, I'm the sadistic type. I like to make pains, and I like to be in pains. I like the drama. If I know feelings, I'm not alive. No feelings is boring. And goes on to say that love is a game. Love is just a game of chess. She loves playing chess.
I'm kind of sadistic type. I like to sometimes make pain, and I like to get
So you
hurt.
like the drama?
Well, yeah. When I have feelings, I feel alive.
If you don't
For
have
me,
something to feel for, do you feel
die.
bored?
I die. It's boring. I mean, it's a game. Love is a game. Who wins is great. I mean, it's like a chess. Do you play chess?
This explains so much. She's just playing around. She wants love if it's gonna be hard and painful and drama filled. Like, she wants to feel love as long as she gets to lash out on somebody. Like, that's love for her, and that is That is crazy. The crazy bonannies. And people start getting upset, especially Jasmine and Sophie. They're both like, this is not a game. Like, this is for real. We're at this therapy, like, for real. Like, we're trying to save our marriages. Being married is for real. And you're sitting here playing around and shit. Like, why are you even dragging Josh around? Why are you acting like a... No, we already know why you're acting like a crazy bitch. Because apparently drama is how you feel loved. Like, that is lock yourself up.
Get some help.
But Natalie is just done. She tries to shift the attention and she's like, why don't you guys talk about your feelings and stuff? And Jasmine is like, hell no. None of us are gonna open up in front of these people that aren't taking shit seriously, so you need to get your ass on. And Natalie is like, no, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna listen. But thankfully Josh is like, you know what, let's just go. Come on, we'll go to our tent. And Natalie thankfully just gets up and goes off. No fighting, no nothing. Her and Josh just float on off. And Ari goes into being like, we're just trying to help that girl, because obviously Josh don't give a fuck about her. And Sophie's like, obviously Natalie don't give a fuck either. Did you not just hear what the fuck she said? She's doing this for the game, my guy. It's a game of chess. What's happening in her relationship right now, she loves that shit. She's happy that she's in therapy right now. But they end up all being like, fuck this, let's just go to sleep. So they all disperse, and Julia and Jasmine are like, let's just talk for a little bit. So Jasmine tells Gino, I'm gonna go with Julia just for like 10 minutes. 10 minutes? You know, I only need 2. Now everybody's getting into their tents, and the producers gave them just like this little sleeping bag. No cotton in that bitch. Just like, it looked horrible. They were just sleeping on bare ground. I would have been so mad. My body would have been aching. My back would have been hurting. But Ari gets in there and she's like, it's so freaking cold. So are we gonna cuddle? And Benny's like, no, I'm good. And she's like, are you serious? But all night, donkeys were just like roaming around this place. So nobody really got that great of sleep, especially Jasmine. When they wake up, she's like, the donkeys were going off. Gino was farting up the fucking tent. And Gino was like, well, Jasmine, to be fair, they were the silent ones. Yeah, they sure were stanky. But you didn't hear nothing, Jasmine.
Disgusting!
But Gino and Jasmine are so crazy about not sleeping with each other. In the tent, they had the suitcases lined up between them. Like, is it that serious? You guys were so scared to touch each other, you had to sleep with the suitcases. But as everybody exits their tents, Julia and Brandon comes out, and the therapist immediately grabs them before they can even have breakfast, because she wants to get them right in the morning, try to build some of that trust between them again right away. So she just snags them and takes them along. Now some of the people have already gathered around the fire just chit-chatting, and they're asking how Josh slept, and Josh is like, Natalie's always trying to touch on me, cuddle on me, like I hate it, like I wish you would just stop touching me. But he's like, I wish you would just sleep like a straight board, or you know what, not even sleep in my bed whatsoever. So he was just annoyed that Natalie was all over him. And then they asked Rob how he slept, and he says during the whole camping experience, him and Sophie were great, but then this morning she was being really weird towards him and he doesn't understand what's going on. And Ari is like, well, you definitely did something, so what did you do? But they immediately go over to Jasmine, and she's heading over to Sophie's tent being like, come on, let's go get some breakfast, what are you doing? And Sophie's like, no, you know, I'm just not really feeling it. And she goes on to say that she's just been feeling weird, it's just been really awkward, and that apparently Rob has been really shady and hasn't been showing his true colors around everybody. The whole time they've been there at therapy, Rob has been texting women, multiple women's, during the whole time that they've been there, just tip-tapping away on that little celly phone of his, which I forgot to bring up earlier when they were at the campfire. He pulled out his phone and was like using it, but in the last episode he straight up was like, I didn't bring my phone because I'm head to toe legit. So it's like, the lie detector determined that was a lie. But Sophie just goes into being like, yeah, he's been texting women this whole time, and she gives Jasmine her phone. Apparently she had screenshots of whatever was on his phone, and I wish they would have shown it. I was like, please. But they didn't. But Jasmine reads a little snippet, and the way she she gasped, I was like, oh yeah, there's definitely something on there. But she reads out, you're down to be adventurous, let's explore. Ooh. And I mean, we could be taking this out of a context. He could have easily just been making like a whole safari type business. I don't know, adventure business, something like that. So we could all be taking this out of context. Maybe he's just texting a whole bunch of women because it's just a women only safari retreat type thing. We don't know. But hopefully in next episode they tell us, because that was the end. They just ended right there. If something does end up popping off, going down in the next episode between them, and I really hope they show us the receipts.
Is it possible to move forward with this new circumstance for you, Brandon?
You're the only safe space I have here and the only thing I know. And for trying to want to feel like I want to push you away, it makes all this harder.
It's been very difficult for me with my marriage with Rob, and you've done so much to me, and I've kept it to myself because I do care about you. You was cheating on me.
Let's be very clear. You want to use that? You want to put me in the corner? I'm done. You know, you had a real one.
Guys, I want you all here. What are you saying?
I didn't say anything. I said I don't like to be touched.
Don't open your mouth about my body.
I feel very like call out, and I just explore.
How can you do this to me?
With the hypnotherapies, you know, like, honestly, I don't think that that's what you were apologizing for. What was it?
All right, I'll tell you.
Now, if you guys want to play a little game of love, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe, and maybe we'll have a little chess championship. I don't know how to play chess, so but as always, thank you guys for coming and watching. It's always appreciated. You guys have a beautiful day. Bye.